joining me this morning. It's Tuesday, what's today, the 25th of November. Really beautiful day. I see Kobus said in the comments, it's a sunny day. What a tough life here in South Africa and in Joburg. So yeah, it is definitely a beautiful day. I know Kobus, you're a little bit more north than what I am. But yeah, it's really a beautiful day, and what better to do to start the morning with virtual coffee with Francois. So welcome. Today I want to talk about a possible missing piece. And I know in the title, initially I said the missing piece. I think there are so many missing pieces that we will still discover as we go along. At the moment, we may think that we have really identified and brought on new things, but I think we've got to evolve all the time. It's never going to stop, and we're going to find new and better ways of doing things and improved ways of doing things. It's not to say that many of the things we've been doing will be taken out. I think it builds upon one another and it all becomes part of the bigger process. But yeah, awesome. I'm looking forward to sort of sharing this idea with you. It's actually based on an article that I started writing last year. I haven't finished it and I haven't published the article, but I thought yesterday when I was thinking about like, what am I going to talk about? Maybe off the back of last week's amazing episode with Yvonne and Tian, where we spoke about integrating the planning side and the coaching side into what it is that we do. This may be the right time to sort of ask this question and just share some thoughts and things with you. And obviously for that reason, I want to encourage you to participate in this discussion today via the chats. So you're more than welcome to do that. Let me say a quick good morning to everybody. Good morning, Terence. You were in. So by the way, you will see I'm very red and I've got like sunburned sunglasses and yeah, unfortunately Friday I was in the sun for a very long time. I had no choice, but yeah, now that I'm starting to do the snake thing and all of that, so hopefully by next week it'll be better. Good morning, Terence. Good morning, Kobus. Thank you very much. Yes, a tough life indeed. Malcolm, nice to see you. I hope, because I've heard in Cape Town it was cold yesterday. My father-in-law had his birthday and they down in Somerset West. Apparently it's not that hot there. So I don't know. You can let us know. Tinus Brits, good morning. Nice to see you again. Welcome. Denise, same to you. Hope you're well. Thank you very much. Mark, good morning. Welcome. Nice to see you. Rizan, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Jaco goeiemorgen. Welkom hier. Carol, Lenzi, nice to see you. It's nice to see so many people back here this morning. Miriam, good morning. Hope you're well. Thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Bruce Cameron, good morning. Nice to see you as well. I hope you're doing very well. And thank you for joining us. Mark, welcome. Thank you very much. Nice to see you with us once again. And Brian Jarvis as well. Good morning, Brian. And Louis van der Merwe, good morning. So yeah, I don't have a lot of things that I want to announce this morning. So just if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. We are this morning on 730 subscribers. So we grew by 9 subscribers this last week. So thank you very much if you were one of them. If you have been a long-standing subscriber, thank you very much. The benefit of subscribing, 1, it doesn't cost you anything. And 2, you get notified when we do publish videos or when we do go live. And then you know it, from that point of view. So that's really the benefit for you from subscribing. The benefit for us is obviously that more people know when we go live and when we publish videos. So thank you very much for supporting us in that way. Then also, if you want to connect with the show in a bit more, so I've just recently, yesterday in fact, I have updated the featured episode list that you can find on the portal. So you're welcome to just click or scan the code rather with the camera on your phone, or you can just visit francois.co.za/portal, and you can get a lot of more like behind the scenes stuff and links to the latest episode, the previous episode, and also the featured episode list, which changes every week. And then also obviously the direct link to the full list of episodes if you want to catch up on some of them or see if there's anything that you want to see. I also share other videos that I think you should watch. I share some behind the scenes photos on there. So really, some good stuff, I think, interesting stuff that you can see. So please connect with me on the portal there as well. It'll be great. You can save it to your phone and do all of that. I must still do an episode or make a video about that, about how you can save it to your phone. But there is a link actually in the About the Show section that shows you exactly how to do that. Then also quickly, so this week we didn't pick up any new supporters from a Patreon point of view, but if you want to consider supporting us, please go to patreon.com/VCF. We use that funds to improve the show. So at the moment we're saving up the funds in there to do some nice stuff early next year. So if you want to do that, there's different options. So you're welcome to do that. I will deeply appreciate it. So at the moment we still have Quibus and Denise and Janice and Johan and Francis as our patrons, and then one person who asked to remain anonymous. So if you want to do that, particularly now that the rand has strengthened, we're down to 15 Rand 30 or something, somewhere around about there. It's going to cost you less to support the show. So, please consider doing so. And then please this is something that has sort of died down a little bit. I feel like there's not as much interaction and questions and comments and things during the show. Please interact with us. That'll be great. And then also remember to like this video if you find it valuable, and share it with anybody in your business or in your practice or in the organization where you work, or anybody else. You're welcome to share it on social media as well. I encourage that. So please consider doing that. Alrighty, so let me see quickly. Good morning, Mariette. Nice to see you. Francis, good morning. Adrian, Arun, nice to see you. Rihanna, good morning. Thank you very much for being here. And Leroux Krokam, good morning, Leroux. I hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, so let's get into the show and the things that I want to talk about. And as I said when we started, and as you could see in the description of today's show, is I'm asking the question: is this a missing piece in what it is that we do? But before I can sort of move on to this missing piece that I want to talk about, and Razan sent me a message to say missing piece with an E, that piece that you feel. So this is not that, and I know what she was playing on, so that was maybe part of what we're trying to achieve. But this is the missing, or a missing piece, where I think we can really add a lot of value to clients. But I don't think we go there. I don't think that we are spending any time talking to clients about these things. And it's also not something that we focus on. It's not something that maybe we saw as part of what it is that we offer. And I will probably ask the question is like, should this, or does this fall within the realm of financial advice and financial planning and what it is that we do on this side of the financial spectrum? So obviously, things have evolved over time, and there's different methodologies, and still today, different advisors and different FSPs choose to focus on different methodologies. So first off there's the product/needs-based sort of methodology, where the thing is like, you want to cover your bond, so you need life cover and maybe disability cover, and that's what we're going to do. You're concerned about your income, you want to protect your income, so let's look at income disability. So it's very need/product driven, and there's still a place for that, I believe. So there's still that methodology. Then sort of the next level would be more the technical side, more the stuff that we were taught. Like can you remember when you did your CFP, you went like, oh, I wish I knew this when I started. How amazing is this, and how interesting is this? And we learned about tax and estate planning and investment planning and retirement planning and all these different legal aspects that went with the sort of, doing an analysis and finding out where the gaps are, etc. So, that is very important, and technical will never go away. That technical part of financial planning will always be there. But the thing is, we got so focused on that, even if I look at outputs, I look at the way we convey information, I look at the way that we have meetings with clients, we sort of lost that connection in many instances without realizing it. And I also think clients didn't even realize that there's some connection missing. They just maybe thought that, this is the next high level stuff. Because how many of your clients have told you before that, you know what, I don't know, you're the expert, I trust you, I will go with what you tell me to do. And I think that line is a clear indication that there's a little bit of a disconnect in that conversation. Then and this we saw in action last week, right? So lifestyle financial planning, where it is not necessarily about a product. It is not necessarily about the technical aspects, although those things all can be part of that. And specifically technical. I think technical will always be part of any kind of financial planning that we do. But then we looked at lifestyle financial, more focused on who they are, how do the kind of lifestyle they want to lead, and how can we make it happen? And is it even possible to do that with what they've got at the moment? And sort of making all sorts of changes and put structures in place and directing cash flow in different directions to sort of make this happen. And by just making those tweaks, if you didn't see it, go check out last week's episode, which was episode 116, obviously, and have a look at the demo that Tian did there. It was really amazing to see it in action and just what that entails. But that is more focused on what the person wants and the kind of things. Instead of going and saying, oh, you have a bond, oh, you have this, oh, you have that, so therefore you need these and these and these products. It's a completely different approach. But again, as we evolve, I think these things all roll up into the next level of financial planning that we are doing. And then also on top of that, we also spoke about that last week, was coaching. So coaching is now starting to focus more on the person and bringing that into it. And somebody like Mariette is very big on focusing on the person and the human, and how do we help them through, maybe making decisions? How do we help them in times of where bad things happen to them and they have to go through these like very difficult and emotional periods of time? How do we help them understand why they think in a particular way? How do we help them, make that connection about what is really important to them, and just sort of sort out through the clutter of which is their life, right? So I think from that perspective, that coaching level is absolutely the next thing. So that's where we are as we stand here in, November 2020. And that is sort of the different methodologies. And as I said, people choose to focus on, or advisors choose to focus on different methodologies. And, some may resonate with some methodologies more than others. Some have just not been introduced to some of the other methodologies. And, often like in any business, you find a rhythm that works for you, that works for your clients, and that's the rhythm that you go with. And that is sort of maybe some of the things I'm going to talk about today. Well, you can also ask yourself and see, where do you stand in terms of that. So those are the different methodologies. I don't know if I'm missing any kind of methodology. You're welcome to share it in the comments. Even if you're watching the recording, you're welcome to post something down in the comments. But then, there are also different, when it comes to advice and when we tell clients what to do, there are different things that we focus on. There are different areas of financial planning, if you will. But I'm just talking about the different focus areas. So because financial planning is such a wide, area, we have to break it down into different things to make it more digestible and to make it easier for clients to go on this journey. And, when I learned about holistic financial planning, I thought you had to do, like, if somebody comes to you and say, listen, I need a will, it's like, let's not use a will, but I need to cover my bond. Then I need to do this entire, like everything from A to Z before we can sort out the bond. And I learned that you can look at a specific need and a specific aspect holistically. You need to understand what is touched by that specific thing to look at it holistically. But also then, more importantly, is that it is about a journey. Holistic financial planning is a journey. It's not a once-off event and an annual event. It is something where we start here and then we go to the first place, the second place, the third place, until we get to the end. But that is holistic planning, considering everything but over time. So that is my view on holistic planning. So when we talk about the focus areas of advice, what we typically tend to do is focus on spending. So we'll start off with a budget or cash flow management, whatever you want to call that, and we'll look at spending. What are you spending money on? Where can we cut spending? Where can we eliminate spending? It's about telling people not to spend money on the things that they really enjoy and say, listen, you need to be prudent. You need to be frugal. You can't have that cappuccino every single morning or twice a day like I do. So it's those kind of things where we say, no, let's take away these things from you because that money can be more powerful somewhere else. So based on that, the second sort of thing that we then focus on is saving, and that saving is absolutely a factor of spending. So the less you spend, the more you can save. And in fact, the more you save, the less you can spend. And there's this notion about paying yourself first that you all know about, and I fully agree with that. Put the money away as if it's an expense. It's done and dusted, it's out of your way, and you even forget about it. I don't know if you've seen that picture or that meme that goes around to say, well, so few people will understand, where they've got savings of 10,000 Rand and they've got 200 Rand in their bank account, and this person saying that they are broke, but yet they've got 10,000 Rand in savings. And it's that mindset around savings does not form part of the money that you can spend. It's not there for spending. It is there for a much bigger reason. So that is a big focus, obviously, of what we do, because financial planning is about money. It's about what do we do with the money. You also probably heard that it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. So it's not about the income you receive, it's about the money you don't spend. But there's maybe something in that sort of sense. And I mean, I've heard many different stories, and I'm probably sure out of each one of your practices, there will also be some great stories about people who did not earn much, but they retire like kings because they had a budget, they stuck to the budget, you know, they could postpone things that they wanted, they only bought things cash, they never made debt, all that kind of stuff. And we know that works, right? So those are definitely two aspects of financial planning that we focus on. The third one is obviously debt. So one, should you get debt? What kind of debt? So good debt versus bad debt. And then the focus is all about reducing that debt or just eliminating it completely. And, you know, that's definitely a big part of financial planning. And often, you know, by the time we get to people, they've already incurred the debt, they've already spent the money. So now they sit with this. And because of those repayments, they don't have any money left at the end of the month. So there needs to be a plan to first reduce this debt. But that's definitely a big focus of financial planning. And then sort of we go into the realm of lifestyle financial planning is providing for a particular lifestyle. So, you know, how do you want your retirement to be? You're only 40 years old right now. What do you want your retirement to look like? You know, what do you think? Do you have an idea? You know, what do we think that's going to cost? You know, what will the situation be by the time, you know, based on what you have now, based on your situation, what do we think it will look like? So we model sort of cash flows and those kind of things to find out what do we think it will look like by the time that you retire. And that's it. In very few instances, you know, not that it doesn't happen, but I think in few instances we're focusing on now in saying like, what kind of lifestyle do you want to lead now, and how do we set you up right now to live that kind of lifestyle, and what do we need to eliminate as quickly as possible to put you in that position where you can actually do that. And again, when we do that, we focus on spending and saving to be able to get that done. It also, I mean, this we've done, I think, since I started back in 1998. This was the thing that we were taught to focus on, is like the F&A, so identifying gaps, you know, where you are now versus where you ideally want to be at what point in time. So we look at death and disability and dread, and we look at education, and we look at retirement, and these are all different things at different points in time in the future. And then we say, well, this is where you are now, that's where you want to be, there's a gap, and this is how we can sort that out. So whether it's insurance or investments or any of those kind of things. We typically tend to focus on things like, you know, based on those gaps is estate planning, investments, you know, some retirement stuff. But we're trying to bridge that gap, and that is what we do. I don't know, is there anything else? Let me run to the comments quickly, but is there anything else in terms of advice that you think we possibly morning? Good morning, Dwayne. Welcome. Kobus says, please support. Thank you, Kobus. Appreciate it. Kuvendra Mora. Good morning, Kuvendra. Mariette, the power of unwanting. Identify what you really want as people are getting is, I'm not sure. Yeah. You must finish typing there, Mariette. I'm not 100% sure what you want to say, but you're welcome to say it again. I will definitely put it up. But I think talking about unwanting, I think it's getting away from the things that you think you want versus what you really, really want, because we don't understand, and we also don't understand what is driving us really from that perspective. So very important. Let me, before I move on quickly. Carol, so true, Francois, it's a journey from 0 to 100 and beyond. What you speak of is what I speak of too in my financial fitness workshops. So it's nice hearing it from other professionals. Awesome stuff. Good morning, Johan. Welcome. All right, so let's continue because my next sort of point that I want to talk about is the optimal use of what you or the client have right now. And this is sort of an important thing, because we look at your situation right now, we gather all the information, we analyze the information, we say, well, this is where you are right now. And if that is where you would want to be, there's this massive bridge that we've got to build. Or, you know what, maybe that's not feasible. Maybe we've got to adjust that picture that you have of somewhere in the future. But we definitely don't focus so much on the now. It's about getting to some desired future position. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's exactly what it should be. It's a part of financial planning, because you've got to provide for the time that will inevitably come where maybe you can't provide for yourself. But my question around this is, when we go, this is your situation, if you continue like you're continuing right now, because that is sort of the story. If you continue like this and we change nothing, you're going to end up short. And I'm asking the question whether we are putting this message, just unintentionally, but whether we're putting this message into clients' minds of lack instead of that there's abundance. Saying like, oh, I only have this, I can't spend this, I must hold back, I must do. And that's a starting point. But I see this with so many people that, they get into that state like, I don't have money. Even when they do have money, they say like, I don't have money, or I can't risk doing this. I can't make use of an opportunity. I can't see changing my future or changing anything about what I'm doing, because they've gotten so into like, I'm not going to make it. If I do that, I'm not going to make it. That they stop seeing the opportunities. They stop seeing a way where they can change something in their life and they can make things better for themselves. They just, I don't know. So I see this in my own family, like it's so hard, where like, it's just like, I can't do this because of all these reasons. And maybe you can identify some of those clients where they can come up with a list of reasons why they can't do something, but they can't come up and they won't come up with one reason about why they can make it, or what will be the benefit if they do that and it does work out. Because they simply can't take the risk, because they feel that there is not enough and they will never ever be able to recover from that. So that is important. All right. Also, I think this sort of message, when we look at like where you are now and the gap that there is for tomorrow and how we get there. And, some clients will have the means to be able to do things to get there, so no problem. But I think the majority of clients do not have the means. So what we're doing is we're saying like, the strategy is, let's take things away from you that you maybe enjoy or things that you like. Let's take that away, and then let's use what we've taken away, somewhere else, which is a great strategy, and it's actually positive, I guess. But instead of saying, how do we create more? We want to take away. That is sort of, I don't know, it feels like that is what we do as financial advisors and planners. Like, we need to take things away so that we can make something else possible way down the line. And then I can't wait to have Kim on the show as well, because Kim's story with her mom and her dad and all of that, and I've told you this before, has really struck a chord with me. Like, we all plan for one day and we're going to do all the things right because one day I'm going to do that. And then you never get there, because whatever happens to you, whether you get sick or whether some violent thing happens to you or you're in an accident or whatever, but you don't even get there. And then these plans meant absolutely nothing if you just took away and took away and took away. So that's sort of the kind of stuff that started to make me think about, how do we, is there a missing thing? Instead of just saying like, we've got to manage what you've got, we've got to manage it well, and we've got to take things away and redirect it somewhere else, How can we focus on living in the now? Because that's also something that we've spoken about on the show quite a few times. It's about living in the now, be present in the now. I think Tanya Kunze spoke about it. Who else was there? There was a couple of other people who also spoke about being present, just experiencing everything right now. Really be present. That's and I think what sort of, so on Friday I was at a funeral, a double funeral. And I just found myself, I wasn't worried about who's sending me emails. I wasn't worried about did I get messages on my phone? I was just there, and I just thought to myself, are these the times that I want to be present 100%? Like when I'm burying someone, that doesn't make sense to me at all. And I think that's sort of part of also what sort of led on to today's episode. But it's that living in the now and making the best of now versus, sacrificing a lot in today to be able to get somewhere in the future that is not guaranteed. So this doesn't mean that I'm saying that go boss, go mad and just do whatever you want to do today and don't be responsible and don't take ownership of what you've got. You've still got to be prudent. But, it's like, what is the message that we're taking out to clients about how they can do that? So that's sort of the question. And I think sort of one of the things is, depending on where we focus on and the way we communicate the message to clients, may sort of be cultivating a mindset of lack instead of a growth mindset. And I've spoken about a growth mindset in the 7 habits, the 7 powerful habits to build a legendary practice. So that's a webinar that's available on Circulus online. So I spoke about it there. I've presented this quite a few times. And one of the things there is about, how do you work on your mindset, and how do you feed your mind every single day, because that is so important. But we also need to understand that our strategies and the way we communicate and the way that we engage in meetings can be fostering certain mindsets with clients if we're not aware of that. So that's one of the big things. Thanks. I see there's so many comments. So let's see. Louis, aligning your financial habits with your values, the things you hold dear for you and your family. Yes, and I don't know, Louis, if you agree. My view on values, and I saw that when I did my own value stuff, is, it's so difficult sometimes. You think, like, this should be important, so I go with that, versus what is actually important. So it's actually hard to determine what is truly important to you. And then sort of, I think the next level to that is, why are those things important to you, to understand what is really driving that. Why am I spending so much money on technology? I must still figure that out. If any one of you can help me, my wife will be eternally grateful. But so let's see. Okay, Mariette says, I said it. Good stuff. Thank you, Mariette. Cape Town is colder than we prefer, but we take Cape Town any day, anyhow. Yes, absolutely. Any thoughts on FSC and the crypto? I will talk about that. I can mention something at the end. Please just remind me. Miriam, I look at their money blueprint and multiple income streams where someone is dependent on the salary. My biggest thing is what happens when you are retrenched. What will be plan B? Yes, and that is such an important thing. Again, how do we have that balance between living and providing for when something goes wrong? That's sort of the question. Yeah, now I saw the typo, no problem. Good stuff. So let's continue. So then let's talk about this. What I would want to ask the question, like, is this a missing piece from financial planning? And I guess the first sort of point to start is, what is it that really drives my financial plan? What is the one thing that drives everything that I want to do, that drives everything? And I'm keen to see what your comments are. What do you think is the one thing that drives your financial plan? What is the one fundamental thing that will make your financial plan work or not work? I guess there's many reasons why something wouldn't work, but what is the one thing that you need? Without that, there is no financial plan. So I'm keen to sort of see what your comments are on that. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee, which is not that hot anymore. So I'm keen to see. I don't know if you're going to share of it. Let's see what Mariette says. Mindful living, gratitude, and savoring the moment is important in where we are today. Habits to live life meaningful. Yep. And also, different things gives meaning to different people, right? And I think it's something that I'm still sort of figuring out as we're going about. All right, so I'm not going to wait for all your comments. You're welcome to put it in the comments. But in my opinion, the one thing that drives your financial plan is your income. So however you generate that, whether that's a salary, whether it's from a business, whether it's multiple income streams, it doesn't matter. It's all about the income. And then obviously, if income is the thing that drives and I may be wrong, I mean, you're welcome to sort of differ in your opinion from me, so I'll be glad to hear what you've got to say. But what is driving my income? I think there's two things that really drive my income. The one is obviously, yes, I can have a strategy to grow my income in the form of creating multiple streams of income. or I can be building a business. I just want to grow that business, so in that way to grow my income. But if I don't have those options, if I'm just a salary earner, or I'm just an employee, and I don't want to do all of those things because having balance and being able to focus on one thing is more important to me, then skill and expertise is the thing that drives that. That is what drives your value, and your value is what drives your income. So how do we then sort of talk to clients about, how do you increase your income? Well, how do you increase your value? How do you learn your skills? How do you make yourself more valuable? So we're so focused on managing what is there and what they've got. And I don't know, do you ask clients like, how can we get you a promotion? How can we get you a job that pays you more? How do we help you change careers so that you can build new skills and expertise in order to earn more than what you're earning now, so that it's easier to do the things that you want to do? And managing that income will always be important, because that one thing still remains true. Like, it's not how much you earn, it's how much you keep. But often we just so like, and again, taking away things and saying, you can't do this, because then we can take that money and do this with it. And that will be more beneficial for you somewhere down the line. But how do we help clients earn more money today, so that they can then, the money that they earn more, rather, instead of taking away things, we take the new money, the new income that they're earning, and put that towards something that they can do. The other big sort of issue, I think that and I find myself in that position, is where you start going in a certain direction and you sort of get into a groove, and there you go. And now this is your career. This is what you do. You stay in insurance, you stay in whatever it is that you're doing, and you can't go and do anything else because you're 45 years old. Maybe you've got kids in the house. Maybe your kids have left school or not. It doesn't matter. And then you feel like, it's too late for me. I can't make a change. I really want to do this thing. I know there's this passion to do this thing, but I can't really go and do this thing because I'm too old. Or, starting from scratch, I'm going to have to start at the bottom, and I can't afford to take a knock in my salary so that I can earn more later. So there's all these reasons why it is so difficult for us to change careers or to change what it is that we're doing. And I also think, by the way, that maybe that's also a reason why people are not taking on new methodologies into their practices that we spoke about earlier, because they're worried they're going to break something that's working, or they're going to have to take a little bit of a knock in their income in the short term, which they can't afford. So that can also be some of the things that is keeping us back in bringing in more new technologies. So, are we helping clients? How do we help clients, to increase their income? Which I think this could be a huge value add, and it's possibly a missing piece for many financial advisors in their practices. Well, simply because we don't know how to do it, and maybe we never thought about it. I don't know. But I think this is an important thing. And it's not like clients don't want this. That is why pyramid schemes are working. This is why everybody rushes into new things that make money, because they do want to increase their income, but they don't know how. So now there's an opportunity here. So we don't talk to them. So there's an opportunity. So what happens is that they go there. And then often they get burned through that, instead of saying, what are the fundamentals that drive your income, and how can you make yourself more valuable so that you get paid more? How can you put structures and things in place that's maybe going to free up some time for you to be able to do other stuff, or to drive your incomes, those kind of things. So I don't know if that goes into the realm of business coaching. I don't know if that goes into the realm of life coaching. I don't know. Is there something that we should be talking to clients about? I don't know. I'm just asking that question. So what are some of the ways that we can help clients possibly? I don't know. I don't have a structure. I don't have a process. I don't have anything to say, listen, this is how we do it, and this is how you can do it, and this is where you can go and learn how to do it. But some of the things that I was thinking about, that we could very easily do is obviously say, well, one, there could be strategy, as I said earlier. So, let me just see. What is her name? Miriam said earlier, it's about multiple income streams. So we can have a strategy to build multiple income streams or passive income streams. and do things like that. So help clients make decisions around which type of assets to acquire that will provide that kind of income for them, and then build on that where their money starts working for them. So that's one of the most obvious sort of things that we can do. But also, if they've got a business, how can they expand the business? How can they grow the business? If they are good at something, and it's something that maybe there's a way to build a side business from what their mainstream thing is. How do we encourage them and get them set up in a way that they could possibly start doing that? There's a lot of things that's at play there, because it depends on whether clients are willing to invest additional time. There's a lot of people say, what are you doing between 11 and 2 in the morning? So those are the kind of things that we need to consider. And depending on whether clients want to do things like this, I think that is also important. All right, so what else? Obviously, how do we help clients identify which skills are the most valuable, skills that they can build on the side? So maybe they're doing something, but they can. So let me take an example. So let's just say you've got a client who is a inbound salesperson at let's say at a tile shop at CTM or somewhere. So that's their job, and it's dependent on how many people they help. They get a very small commission because people are inbound. They don't have to go and look for them. It's walk-in clients, etc. And but you know what? You know that when you have this discussion, they have a passion for, let's just say, for technology and that. Maybe, one idea is to say, well, maybe you want to learn to program, because program is an extremely valuable skill. It is something that you can learn every evening in your own time. That kind of job that they've got is not the kind of job where you got to work after you've gone home. So you can spend that time learning a new skill and getting really good at it. And that can be a 2-3 year or 6-month plan even, to really get there, to start to program and build little projects and get there and then start doing things. And maybe you can even go in CTM and say, listen, I've noticed this problem here and I've written this little program that you can see whether this is going to work for you or not. But there's different ways of starting to do it. And you can decide, look, I love being a salesperson. I want to stay there, and then I want to do this on the side. Or you know what, you make a complete career change from there. Those things are definitely possible. But are we talking to clients about it? Are we saying, if you could start over today, what would you do? What would you ideally want to go and do? How would you want your some of the decisions that you've made? What would you do differently, knowing that you know now, but let's say you're back at 18 or 20 or 21. What is it that you would ideally want to do if you were able to do that, and see if there's a way to do it? I think another big sort of role that we can play is to be connectors, is to connect them to people that can help them. So there, your network is very important. If you know somebody can really help someone with getting somebody set up with something, connect them. Introduce them to one another and talk and say, well, you know what, this is how I see this working. This is what I think can happen. So there's definitely a massive opportunity there. And then be a source. In my notes, I put it like a re in brackets source, but you got to be a resource so they can come to you and check in with you and ask questions and get direction and that kind of thing, So obviously that will take time. Some people have a very wide knowledge of a lot of things, and they've seen a lot of things, and because you work with so many different clients, I think you know a lot about a lot of different things. So use that to your advantage, to be a resource for people who wants to say, how can I increase my income, and really go from there. And then I think also another thing is, if you've got a couple of clients that are looking to do certain things, have a client event. Whether you do it virtually or in person, doesn't matter. But have a valuable client event that is focused on those things, because the value you're going to add to them is going to strengthen your relationship. It's really going to make a difference in their lives, and it's maybe going to set them on this path to go and do this stuff. And the one thing that I'm just thinking as I'm sharing this with you is that we still stick to the fundamentals of financial planning. So the 4 methodologies that I've spoken about right at the beginning. This isn't moving away from what it is that you're doing. This isn't doing things differently, because we still got to manage the money. We still got to know the gaps. We still got to put strategies in place. We still going to do lifestyle financial planning and coaching and the technical aspects of this and all of that, and implement the product every now and then, of course. So those are the things that will still happen, right? But it is this additional value add of how do we change their lives by helping them increase their income and then play our role in managing that income efficiently and effectively. And then, I think another big thing that we can provide them to help them is to provide them with accountability, to check in with them regularly. And this is typically a coaching thing, but, just to check in with them and say how they're doing. Are they still on track? Just check in, whether it's via WhatsApp or via a phone call or whatever. But these are things that can be very valuable. Let me just see. I did mention that one. Carol, while we move from the trade economy to the digital economy, help people understand how they can monetize themselves and create passive income in various ways. And you make me think of something, Carol. I think I told the story before, but maybe many of you didn't hear this. At the time, I went for a meeting at Alexander Forbes, and I haven't been there for quite a long time. It was somewhere last year. I had a meeting with their training/compliance department, and to look at doing certain things. And when I got there, it was this whole new check-in system at the reception. Usually you would go there, the lady would smile at you, she'd take your picture, you fill in a form, and there you go. And then they would call somebody and they would come. Everything was digitized. So I came there. My meeting was there. I can't remember exactly the process, but I said, this is the boom, boom, boom. Everything happened automatically. Nobody helped me. I then went through to the security gates, and they let me in. And there was a lady on the other side, and I was talking to her as she was taking me to the room where the meeting was going to take place. And I said to her, wow, this is amazing. Like, I love this. I don't have to stand in a queue and wait. It's just amazing. The person who I'm seeing gets notified immediately as I check in. There's no call. It's just seamless. It's beautiful. She says to me, yeah, it's cool, but I'm so worried that I'm going to lose my job. And coming back to what you're saying, there is my question to her was like, well, what else is there where you can add value, and what can you do in order to change your value and your skills that you offer while you still have this job? Because if you're going to wait until they do make you redundant, for example, to say, we've got Bill Gates checking you in, you don't have to do that anymore, so thank you very much for coming. If you want to start at that point, that's a bad strategy. You can already see what's happening around you. And often not a lot of clients and people can see what is happening around them. But for those who see what's happening, is to encourage them to already take action and say, well, what is the next thing? And I know I asked her, like, what is it that you ideally want to do? And I can't remember what the answer was. But I said, well, go do that. That is what you should do. So important. All right. From consumer point of view, most want to be covered. It just depends on the value of the problem. Do consumers know the value of the problem? That's a good question, Razan. Education, support, motivation to surpass the ceiling of income limitations. Yes, so there's a lot that goes into this, and that's why it all starts with mindset. And I know so many people that they go to work at 8, they come home at 4 or 5, and they're done for the day. They don't want to do anything else. They want to do whatever else they want to do. They're not willing to invest that extra time into saying, well, how can I better my life, or how can I do things differently? So it's an interesting sort of dynamic, but, I fully agree with you. Education, support, and motivation is very important. Hi, Mary. Nice to see you. You're on to something. Thank you. I think you're also on to a lot of stuff with what you're doing. This is a key part of the work I do with my clients after we've looked at their spending and done the make small exercise, which I prefer to call mindful mastery of their money. That's very catchy. And then flip the focus on how to make big and generate more income for themselves. You see, this is amazing, because that's what I feel is missing. We're so focused on, as I said in the beginning, how do you manage what you've got, and don't waste what you've got? And that you must never waste what you've got. But also, how do we earn more to increase our opportunities and our possibilities? Otherwise, they're feeling like they have to live in scarcity and limitation versus looking towards possibility and for opportunity to grow, aspiration, inspiration. I also take my clients through, I guess there was some more that you wanted to say, or it's just cutting off on my side. I'm sorry for that. So very interesting. So yes, thank you for the conversation. I think that was some interesting things to go and think about, and you're welcome to sort of chat to me about it, and to leave some more comments even after the show. You're welcome. You can come back and leave more comments. And but think about this, is there something that will be of value, or just at least be on the lookout for when you are meeting with clients and saying, well, here's an opportunity for that. So next week, I've got Mark Bullock. We're going to talk about the perception of value. And that's going to be a very interesting conversation. So next week, Tuesday, same time, same place. Come and join us. Thank you very much for being here today. I deeply appreciate you. And I wish you all the best. Have a fantastic week. And I hope you braai once or twice. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.